is Erika.
And this is Tina.
And we are A92A. A92A stands for ages 9 to adult. That's how long we've been on this journey together as friends.
92 is also our high school graduation year.
And ages 9 to adult is a nod to the board game life, which we rockified as kids in order to live out our rock and roll fantasies. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, guys, we have another big interview for you today. Joining us is the incredible voice talent that is Phil Lewis. You know him as the lead singer for one of our favorite bands, LA Guns. And guys, I've got to tell you, I've seen LA Guns perform at least a couple of times now over the last 9 months. And Phil, your voice is, I just have to tell you before we get started, it is so good. I mean, I really can't get over it. I've seen you, like I said, a couple of times, and it is legit. Like, the live performances are so incredibly great.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we have so much problems with the technical digital gear that we've just given up trying to fake it. So we just play our shows live now, from top to beginning to the end. It's all live, and take it or leave it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. That's a fascinating intro, how you put the show together, and I'm perplexed and delighted to be invited to talk to you both, and that's very nice thing to say. I wasn't born a good singer. It's something that you get better at with each demo, with each gig. It wasn't like, oh my God, he's got this protege when I was a kid. No. I got some terrible demos. And, I just grew up through the ranks doing open mic nights, and some nights were better than others. But, what they say, 10,000 hours. I think I've more than put in my 10 grand, don't you, by now?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that's amazing. I don't think I've ever heard a lead singer say anything before about not having just this really natural vocal talent. But I mean, I'm sure that, as you said, it's something you have to continue to work on. It's not necessarily something that you out one day and it comes out.
I lost the bet. I was in my first band. I lost the flip of a coin, and it was me and Jerry, and we were both playing guitar, and we were auditioning singers, and it just went on forever, and it wasn't going very well. So in the end, we're like, look, let's flip a coin, all right, and whoever loses is the singer, becomes the singer. I swear to God, that's how I ended up singing.
Oh my God, that is the best story I've ever heard in my life. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. So Phil, just to give you a little bit of a background here, Tina and I are both in the entertainment industry. Tina works in film and movie trailers, and I actually book shows, and you're playing one of my venues in Omaha in July with Tom Kiefer. So I'm super excited about that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
But Tina and I collectively have been LA Guns fans really since the first self-titled album debuted in 1988. But what I want to know is, for you personally, what has been the driving motivation to continue to make music and tour and record albums? And has that motivation stayed consistent, or has it kind of evolved and changed over the years?
It absolutely has changed a lot. Tracy and I have our past now 5 years since our reunion. And I've got to say, prior to that reunion, even though I was doing it, I was doing the band, I was going through the motions, I was playing the venues, I was doing the rib fests, I was doing, all the casinos. And I've got to say, it was dull. It was starting to get really boring. And when Tracy and I got back together, and I'd forgotten just how prolific he is as a writer, and how interesting and diverse his music, his songs, and I really miss that. And before you know it, we just banged out, in 5 years we banged out 4 brand new, completely 100% original albums, and I just think it's the chemistry between the two of us. Because I'm always, if he's involved, it's got to be my best game, because I don't mess around. When it comes to music, there's no messing around. And it's always been like that. I played with hundreds of guitar players, and he's played with dozens of singers, and it's not the same. But when we get together, there is that electricity, and I can't explain it. But we have it, so yeah, right now, on a 5-year high, doing this, and really proud of the new music that we're putting out, and equally as proud as of the band and our shows, which obviously is, there's an element of nostalgia, and we're fine with that. The tricky part is, we've got all these great new songs. How do we put them in? You obviously can't do an LA Gun show without Electric Gypsy or Ballad of Jane, or, it'd just be inconceivable. But, it's a juggling act. It's fun. And as you can see, I'm smiling from ear to ear. It's great. And in fact, we can get that digital equipment to work again.
Just imagine what will happen.
Yeah.
We actually had Tracy on the podcast about a year ago. And he certainly had a lot of kind things to say about you and about working with you again. Did you guys just kind of hit a reset button, do you think, when you started working together again 5 or 6 years ago? Or is your relationship different now? Do you feel like you relate to each other differently?
Well, I think of it as being a second honeymoon. And because we know each other so much better than we did on the first, we've been able to extend it and keep it light, keep it fun. And that was the idea with the reunion. Just like, let's get back together, let's make some great music and have some fun, and do what we love to do the most. And it has been that for the most part. It's had its challenges along the way. Within over a space of 5 years, of course, there's going to be peaks and valleys. But yeah, it all comes down to me and him at the end of the day. We got a great band, got to say. Johnny Martin, our bass player, he was playing with Tracy prior to the reunion. So in many ways, I feel like I joined Johnny's band, and he never fails to let me forget that. We have Ace Von Johnson on guitar, who the steel for a long time, and eventually I got my way, and we have Sean Duncan playing drums live, and Adam Hamilton playing drums. Incidentally, we have a new record out. We're going to talk about a little bit about that.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Yeah, Adam played drums because he's a studio cat, and he's got too much going on for him to come on the road, and Sean is a great live drummer, and he plays everything exactly the way it's supposed to. So, firing in all cylinders.
Yeah. And Tina's going to ask a question in just 1 minute, but that does take me to my next question, which was about the band. We are absolutely in love, by the way, with the band's current lineup. And you kind of listed out all of the members. All 5 of you are so seamless when you perform live, and the shows are so fun to watch. What do you think you enjoy the most about working with these 4 guys? And of course, 5 if you count Adam. But I mean, it's such chemistry on stage that you as a fan can totally see it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're a gang. We really enjoy each other's company. We have tremendous respect for each other's abilities, but that doesn't make it. We're not pompous about it. We're just rockers. Hanging out, and we've all pretty much been through the same trenches, and so that there's no illusions of grandeur. Maybe me a little bit. I'm not carrying amplifiers. Don't be ridiculous.
Lead singer.
Yeah, exactly. I've got this microphone, see, and that's it. That's the full extent of my roadieing. No, it is fun. It's fun from the beginning of the set. We do our little handsy thing before we go out and we play. And at the end of the show, we do our silly little wooden boy dance, and it just it makes for a great night.
Yeah, it's obviously really great chemistry. We love this lineup, as Erika said. We talk about you guys a lot on the podcast. But you made some headlines recently for some pretty choice words about Motley Crue. You've been joking around a little bit with us about, you guys always playing live from start to finish, but have you gotten any sort of backlash for any of your comments about the situation? Is anybody mad at you right now?
Yeah, you know what? I've always had it in for Motley Crue, and I've had death threats over the years because of it, and it's just great that finally people are starting
Yeah.
to get it. What a fraudulent act it is, and you can say, oh well, it's so high tech, it needs to be choreographed and coordinated. Kiss don't do that. The Kiss don't use backing tapes and flying in vote. There is a live band. There's absolutely no excuse for it. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I've learned since my blabbermouth comment is I think at the end of the day, and here's the thing, we'll find out this week because they're going over, the stadium tour hits Europe. I don't think people give a damn. I don't think anyone's really there for the music. I think it's a festival. It's a gathering of people that are into the same thing, the same music, the same soundtrack of their lives. And I really don't think that I think it's going to be like maybe 5%. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But I think it's going to be a small percent who go, oh no, well, if they're not playing live, I don't want to see it. I think for the most part, for the demographic and what they're going for, I don't think it's going to make a blind bit of difference.
Well, I want to say something about that because Tina and I went to the stadium tour in Los Angeles last summer. And it was funny because when Motley Crue came on stage, both of us were like, what in the hell is happening here? Because people just lost their mind, but not lost their mind in like, oh my God, this is my band. Lost their mind in like they were in grade school again. Like they were like building like castles with their chairs and like throwing drinks everywhere. It was weird.
It was
yeah.
Everybody was pretty drunk.
No, it's very much it's very much a cult thing, and I'm no doubt I've pissed people off. Still, it's like it's a bit like people that follow the old president, isn't it? It's just like the evidence is so blatantly there, and people just refuse to accept it. But who am I? So we're not here to talk about.
No, we're not. We're not. In fact, let's talk about your performance. We just saw you at the Whiskey last month for the Black Diamond's album release party. It was so much fun. One of the things I want to mention, and we watched you bring up on stage some really young musicians, Sierra Levesque and Peter Dankelson and Ranga Ringrose. How important is it to you guys to mentor and work with this younger generation of rockers?
I have to give Tracy full credit on this. He told me the day of the show that there was going to be some kind of activity and to get ready for it. And I was as delighted as everyone else in there when it was happening, while it was taking place. We did sound check Ballad of Jane, and she just did such a beautiful rendition. And it was like, wow, what a great compliment. And then, to see Tracy's little disciples up there playing on Rip and Tear, I mean, it's just beaming, just ear to ear, grinning. And that is what it's all about. It really, so no, I mean, Tracy, he teaches, he's elevated now to he's a maestro.
Yeah.
A maestro means teacher.
Yeah.
And he teaches, and he's a very, very good one. And Pete, his student, I think his star student for me, because he's just so amazing. The spirit of the guy and his playing is just incredible. So Tracy, I've got to give him full credit for nurturing that and bringing it up. And anytime, man, that's really cool. I like these School of Rock things that I've done in the past, where you go and it's a bunch of kids and you teach them one of your songs, and then they play, like usually Ballad of Jane. I've done that a few times, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, we could see on stage how also supportive and protective you guys were being of these young folks too. Is there any advice or warnings you're giving them as they start to navigate this business and gain exposure?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're nice because that's probably where nice ends if they're serious about doing this. Because no, it's not essentially a nice quest. This odyssey is certainly fraught with storm. But with the equipment that they have, with their abilities and that attitude, I think they'll go far. And I feel so frustrated for the generation now trying to put something together, put a new band together. Just the concept of a band has become so abstract and sort of old-fashioned. When I grew up, when Tracy grew up, everyone was in a band, or if you weren't in a band, you knew somebody that was, or you worked with somebody. It was music was king, and it was all about bands. It was all about songs, and I'm so glad. I don't mind being old as dirt because I lived through that, and it's magic, and just to see just a tiny little hint of that, it's still going on. We'll do everything we can to support that.
Yeah.
We'll blow on that fire, little ember, and get that thing into a flame if it's the last thing we do.
Tina and I kind of feel that way. I think about fans of the music that we run across too. The younger generation that's like into LA Guns, and into like Sierra that's performing this music.
It's great. It's great. And we do have friends. I don't really think of them as being fans because we've known them for so long, that do spread over generations. And the young ones are there genuinely because they want to be there. I'm like, you're just here because your mum and dad's here. And it's like, no, we really, really want to. I was like, all right, okay. I can't believe it. I'm still, pinching myself. But yeah, if we're doing something, we're doing it right, and we're definitely doing it on our own terms. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What was the last band? Well, not even the last band. The last power ballad you heard, a new power ballad. I mean, any power ballad. Like let's go back, say, to Cheap Trick, The Flame. Since The Flame, has there been a big power ballad? No, there hasn't.
No.
It's been incredibly. Because it's not trendy. Nobody wants to go there, and of course we've gone in there. Guns blazing, and we wrote one. We've made
Diamonds is a fantastic, and fantastic song.
It is fantastic. Thank you very much. And yes, and that's what I love about this band, that we can have the guts to write and do and play it live to people that have never heard it and pull it off.
What a concept!
A power ballad
with a guitar.
It's been it's been so long.
Yeah, it has been.
And doesn't that mean something? It means something to me.
It does to us as well. Yeah.
Well, like Tina said, we were at the Whiskey when you played that song, and I'm sure you had played it live at some point, but that was sort of like your release party, and so the audience was really into that song in particular. You could tell there was an energy in the building, so you definitely are getting great fan response from this new album and from that song in particular.
Thank you very much. I think that was maybe the second time we played it, but we've just been so looking forward to doing it, and that little thing that I do. I teach the crowd how to sing the middle eight. There's the verse, chorus, and there's a section that it calls for audience participation, and it's a very simple 4-line thing. And they must be looking at me going, "What the hell is he talking about?" And bear with me now. And then we start the song, and then we come to that, and I'm like, "Okay, here we go," and I give that, and boom. It is magic. The roof just blows off the joint, and I love it. I can't wait to do that all summer long.
Yeah, great. Do you have a favorite LA Gun song? Is it one of your new songs? Is it an old?
That's impossible. It really is impossible. There's a song on Waking the Dead called "Don't Look at Me That Way" that really gets my blood going. It really, it's got everything for me. But we got so many songs.
I know you do.
That it's impossible. I can't even pick a favorite on the album, let alone on this new record, let alone over the course of decades.
What about LA Gun's video? Do you have a favorite LA Guns video? Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, my favorite LA Guns video, of course, is Cannonball, because I could do that. I had the plague behind me. I had the Rona. So I was in a studio with a bunch of wigs and muskets, and it was like the song's about pirates, the song's about, and it was just like I had just by myself, because we were all in quarantine. So that was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed that. And the label were like when they wanted to shoot the video, they were like, we're just gonna shoot some backstage stuff and some stuff around West Hollywood. And I was like, no, no, no. I got much, much better ideas. And fortunately, they went with it. And I think it's a great video.
it is.
And I'm real proud of it. It's campy, and then a lot of it doesn't make sense, but it's a video.
It's a fun video.
Never been big on making videos, to be honest with you. It's just, the miming is really difficult for me. I don't know whether I'm supposed to sing it in full voice, like I'm singing it on the record, or I'm supposed to be cool and don't. I was once Don Arden once told me not to grimace. Grimace was the word he used. Try not to grimace so much, little boy. So yeah, one doesn't want to over grimace, and it's just like, fuck this. I just want to play the music.
I can understand that for sure. Phil, you've moved out of Los Angeles, right? You're out in the desert, right?
Yeah, I'm in Nevada. I love it.
Yeah. Well, strangely, actually, most of your band is still in LA, which is unusual. A lot of musicians have moved out, Nashville, out in the desert, that kind of thing. What was the impetus for you to move, and how is your life different for you out there?
Well, it was a difficult decision because, I love LA. I loved it. I mean, when I first moved there, I thought that, I'd died and gone to heaven. So for me to come to the conclusion that perhaps I might, it was a question of the money, really. I came out and I was doing a lot of shows in Vegas, and there were residencies going on that I was being invited to attend. So, I was out here for, several days at a time, and I was like, well, I'm just going to look, see what I can get, what's available, what I can get for what I'm paying in LA. And it was just like, shit, I can live like James Bond out here or in a shoebox in LA. And it was like, it was a no-brainer. So I gave it a year. I thought, okay, well, if see how it goes. And the thing about LA is the proximity between Vegas and LA. It's virtually a suburb of LA. It's so easy to get in there and out of there. Sometimes I do it 3 times a month, and it really is no big deal.
Yeah, no, I get that. We've talked with a lot of guests who have moved out, and that's the quality of living and what they could afford and the life, and it seems really cool. I'm holding on to Los Angeles like with the last beat of my heart. I swear I love it here. So.
And I don't blame you, because as I said, I just was in love with the place for decades. And Tracy, I mean, he's West Hollywood to the day he died. That he would never live anywhere else. Johnny's an Angelino, and Ace he was a native, born and raised Angelino. And he just around COVID, he threw in the towel. It was the homeless that got him.
Yeah.
He was it was heartbreaking and frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in Nashville. He's in Tennessee now, and he doesn't regret his decision.
Yeah.
I moved to Texas once back in the 90s, and it was the biggest mistake. I realized after 2 weeks that soon that I'd made a terrible decision, and that quickly, and I was in hook, line, and sinker as well. I'd given up my place, and
wow.
I'd moved in, wife, kid, and everything. And I didn't like it, and it just wasn't right for me. I liked the people. The people were good. The rockers and the people that I became friends with.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like just the general people and the heat and the bugs, and it was it was terrible. So no, it's been good to me, Vegas. The heat's a challenge.
Yeah.
But we have, spring and autumn here. It's divine. It's just about to start getting really, really hot now. But since, I don't know, since the end of last year, since November, it's been absolutely gorgeous. And you don't think of that being in the desert. It gets bloody cold here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat too. So yeah, I've always been a city boy. It's always been London or LA. So it was interesting to see. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I like going back, and it's and with the provision, I don't think I would have moved out to Vegas if it was that much. Like say if it was, I don't know, Seattle or somewhere where you can't just get in a car and be there in a few hours. I'm not quite ready to give that up.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, you guys joined a really cool project recently. You became part of the Writers and Rockers Coffee Company, and you have a couple different blends titled after your albums, Cocked and Loaded, and the new one, Black Diamonds.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved with that, and why?
Well, I don't know, but I know a couple of days ago I got a nice check, and I said to Tracy, "What's this?" He goes, "It's coffee." I said, "Oh, we're coffee barons now, are we?" And he goes, yeah, I've been telling you about it. And I was like, yeah, I know because he's involved in skateboards and pedal boards and equipment. It's just like, it's hard to keep up. So yeah, a little while ago, I was asked this question about the coffee, and I really didn't know, but it didn't stop me answering facetiously, of course. And I said, yes, we have a small plantation down in Colombia. It's nothing grand, 1,000 acres, horses, and I said that the secret is we wash the leaves off the coffee. So when you drink it, it makes your nums numb.
Oh God.
and they're going, what? Yeah, what? So if you see that in an interview, pay it no regard. That's no, that's just something I heard, but yeah, I think it's something that Tracy and Aranthi are involved in, and she was doing it, and she said, "Oh, you might as well." And it's not unfortunately it's not our own 1,000-acre plantation down in Colombia with horses.
It's not. Well, okay. So coffee aside, and also music aside, what else? How else do you spend your time? What else inspires you these days?
Well, I really don't live much of a rock lifestyle. I'm still, into the bikes and into the cars and all of that. I've been waiting to get a little time off because I've got a little cat issue. I'm a cat person, and I had a couple of cats since they were kittens, and recently they passed on. And I'd had a newer cat that I'd introduced to them a few years before, and Tommy it's been dealing with Tommy's grief and finding him a new friend, and so I'm in the process of that at the moment. The thing is, Tom doesn't think he's a cat. He grew up around dogs. He's one of those like polymorphic cats with the
extra,
double, the extra X. So he's sort of like a Rain Man kind of cats. He is incredibly smart, but I imagine for another cat, it must. So yeah, we got Monty, and Monty's getting better. But Tom is it's like Scooby-Doo of cats. All he wants to do is just run up and hold him and kiss him and tell him he's his best friend. Aww. And of course, Tom doesn't realize that, Monty's just a little cute little cat. So what would the it would have been so much easier to get a kitten. but I don't want the easy way. I want. There are good cats out there,
Yeah.
and you know, Tom was like 3 or 4 years old when I got him, and it's the best pet in my life. So I'm really making an effort to incorporate not a senior pet, but an adult pet, as opposed to taking the easy route.
Good for
and
you.
of course, you know, 2 boys in the same proximity. That's a challenge. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But since you asked,
no, it's good. I'm a cat person too. We've got 4 in the house, and it's the dynamic is important, and it's
it's so important.
Yeah.
You know what we're trying to do. The thing is, you know, sure, we could just let them at it, you know, and let them sort it out. But they'll never be friends if you do that. They'll just tolerate each other. What we're trying to do is make it so it's nice, and they'll cuddle and they'll eat together. But you know, that doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. It's a process.
Yeah, you do need some time off so that you can focus on that. That's a
lot.
I
could. There's no way I could have done that and fly off and do gigs and go on tour. So I've been waiting for this, and it's going all right.
Good.
That's awesome.
And you know, it works good with doing interviews, and so yeah.
Amazing. Well, Phil, I've been so incredibly impressed with the music that you've put out over the last couple of years. And I've said this before on the podcast, and I say it to other people. This music is exactly what I want LA Guns to sound like in 2023, because it's raw, just like in the early days, but there's a maturity and sophistication to it that brings like this modern appeal to what you're doing now. It's almost like you and your fans have kind of like grown up together, and now you're just producing this amazing music that's exactly what your fans want. What's next for the band? Do you guys, I mean, you've talked about how much material you've written. Do you have more material you're writing, or what is next for you guys?
Well, thank you very much for that. That's a great compliment. And I do feel that our audience has matured with us. I have to wonder, you know, it's like what the difference would have been if say, you know, like The Missing Piece was our first record, and that came out in 87, 88. I wonder, you know, if that would have made, you know, a big difference. I just think that the music has become much more sophisticated. The writing certainly has improved enormously. You know, like, and I think it's, you know, not knocking at Tracy at all, but he was more into showing off his dexterity when he was younger. And now he's all about the songs and songwriting and still, you know, ripping out these incredible, you know, barnstorming, blazing solos. But his focus has changed a lot towards the songwriting art, and he just keeps coming up with ideas, and not just for me, not just for us, but you know, he's written an album. He produced an album with and for Todd Kearns, who plays with Slash, and he's just done an album with Jack Russell. So you know, he's very, very prolific. He likes to keep busy, but I like to think that he saves the best stuff for us.
I think he does.
I would hope so. Oh, well, thank you so much, Phil. I feel like we have to let you go because you have other interviews and other things to do. I know.
It's been a pleasure, ladies, and thank you so much for your support. And if we're playing anywhere near, please come out and hang with us. You know, I look forward to meeting you in person.
Well, yeah, like I said, you'll actually be at my building in July, so I
will.
Well,
come on down.
I'll definitely see you then.
All right.
But we just want to call out to our listeners. If you have any thoughts on LA Guns, have you seen a show recently? Have you listened to the new album? We're going to be posting about LA Guns all week, so make sure to chime in. You can follow us and interact with us on our website, www.a92a.life, on Instagram at A92A_life, or check out our Facebook page, A92A. And Phil, by the way, I think I'm giving you the award for the coolest guest that we've had so far.
Pretty cool.
Wow, thank you. My goodness. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, yeah, it's been a blast, ladies. So anytime.
Thank you, Phil.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.